30 days ago, I wired $1,250 for something I had never seen in person, just a wrapped pallet of customer returns.
So just over 3 months ago, I decided to take a leap of faith that, to be honest, most people wouldn't even think of taking. I spent a cool $250 on something I hadn't even seen in person before. There were no guarantees, no refunds, just a pile of customer returns and oddballs from big box retailers across the US. Now there are those who say liquidating pallets is a dime a dozen kind of money-making adventure. But there's also the whole, it's just a scam to get fresh hands on beginners and then let them down argument. I didn't want to get caught up in those debates. I just wanted to know the numbers. So I snagged a general merchandise pallet called Electronics and Home Goods Customer Returns. The regular price was supposed to be $1,000, with an additional $250 for shipping. Since most newbies tend to overlook shipping costs when looking at their profit potential, I wanted to make sure I was thinking straight. Before I even popped the first box open, I was already investing in the deal at $250. And that's when it hit me that this wasn't just some YouTube setup. This was something I could really get into. If you haven't heard of what liquidating pallets entail, here's the basic scoop. Every year, businesses toss tons of items back into the store. Some aren't even opened, while others have barely been used. Some are even damaged beyond repair. Instead of taking the time to individually test each product, companies like to group them together and ship them off in bulk to resellers. So essentially, you buy a whole pallet without knowing what you'll get inside. Sometimes the stuff is pure gold, while sometimes it's more of a fridge repairman's toy. When my truck rolled up to my front door, I felt a mix of adrenaline and anxiety. The pallet was wrapped up tight with plastic. From the outside, it looked pretty cut and dried. Clean boxes. No obvious damage, all good. But don't just take my word for it. Let me walk you through the realities of what happened. Once I got the pallet into my garage and grabbed a box cutter, the real challenge began. As I began opening the boxes, I quickly realized this was going to be a mixed bag. Some packages were factory sealed. That immediately increased their resale value. Others had clearly been opened and resealed. A few boxes were damaged. The first major item I pulled out was an air fryer, brand new, still wrapped. That alone gave me hope. Next was a coffee machine, slightly worn box, but everything inside looked untouched. Then I found 2 Bluetooth speakers. Both appeared lightly used but in good condition. But not everything was a win. There was a printer that wouldn't power on, a couple of small kitchen gadgets missing parts, random phone accessories with no original packaging. This is the reality of liquidation. It's not a treasure chest. It's a sorting process. Over the next few days, I tested every single item. I plugged in electronics. I checked for missing components. I cleaned what needed cleaning. I organized everything into 3 categories: sell immediately, repair or test further, and unsellable. Here's something most people don't talk about. This takes time, real time. It's not passive income. It's operational work. You are now the quality control department. After testing, I started listing items online. For higher value electronics, I used eBay. For smaller household items, I used Facebook Marketplace. Anything eligible for Amazon, I listed carefully after checking fees. And fees matter. Selling platforms take their percentage. Shipping costs eat into margins. If you don't calculate correctly, you can think you're profitable when you're not. Instead of trying to squeeze every last dollar out of each item, I priced slightly below market value to move inventory faster. Cash flow is more important than ego pricing. The first week was quiet, almost no sales. That's when doubt creeps in. Did I overpay? Did I make a mistake? Then in week 2, the air fryer sold for $85. A few days later, the coffee machine sold for $120. One of the Bluetooth speakers moved for $60. Momentum started building. Notifications began coming in more frequently. Smaller items added up quickly. Phone accessories, kitchen tools, random home goods. It wasn't explosive. It was steady. And steady builds confidence. By the end of 30 days, I had sold the majority of the valuable items from the pallet. Total revenue came out to $119.80. But revenue is not profit. From that total, I had to subtract my original investment of $250, then platform fees, then shipping supplies, then transaction fees. After calculating everything carefully, the final net profit was $730. That's roughly a 58% return in 30 days. Now let's be honest, that sounds impressive, but it wasn't effortless. I spent hours testing products, writing listings, answering customer messages, packing boxes, dropping off shipments. This is not passive income. It's active reselling. So the real question is, was it worth it? For me, yes, because I treated it like a business experiment, not a gamble. Here are the biggest lessons I learned. First, category focus matters. General merchandise is unpredictable. Next time, I would focus only on electronics or only on small appliances. Second, always calculate total cost, including shipping, before buying. Third, expect a percentage of items to be unsellable. Build that loss into your projections. Fourth, speed matters. The faster you test and list items, the faster you recover capital. Liquidation flipping works, but only if you understand margins and risk management. It's not a shortcut, it's a system. Would I scale this to $5,000? Possibly, but only after refining sourcing and narrowing categories. The biggest mistake beginners make is going too big too fast. Start small. Learn the process. Build data. Then scale. At the end of the day, this wasn't about flipping random products. It was about understanding opportunity where others see inconvenience. Retailers see returns as a problem. Resellers see them as inventory. And that difference in perspective is where profit lives. If you're willing to do the work, manage the risk, and stay disciplined, liquidation flipping can be profitable. But if you're looking for easy money, this isn't it. Business rewards patience. And in this experiment, patience paid.